Hi everyone, and welcome to Going Over Wrestling with me, your host Ross. In this episode, we are digging deep into the vaults for the original granddaddy of them all, Starrcade 83. The event took place on November 24th, 1983, Thanksgiving night, at the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. This show was the first major event shown on closed circuit television by the NWA. The subtitle for Starrcade 83 was A Flair for the Gold. The show itself was built up around the culmination of the feud between the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Harley Race, and the challenger Ric Flair. Their match was to take place inside of a steel cage for the NWA World Heavyweight title. The undercard also featured other feuds going on in the NWA at that time, which we'll come to later on. Our announcers for the night are Bob Caudle and the legendary Gordon Soley, with backstage segments and interviews being conducted by Tony Schiavone and Barbara Clary. To help me talk Starrcade 83, I am joined by Jamie. So hard cut to the ring then for the first match on Starrcade 83. Just before we talk about the match, it's just first thing to note is just how dark the arena is.
Yeah, it's when you're comparing it to like today's standards, it's totally different because nowadays you can see the fans, you can see signs, you can see everyone cheering, like everyone diving about. But in this show, the only thing you can really see is what's between the ropes. You can see the ring, you can't see the ring apron really, you can't see beyond that.
Even outside of the ring,
yeah.
to the guardrail, there's nothing really,
Yeah.
The first four men in the ring then, it's the Masked Assassins, Assassins 1 and Assassins 2. Has anybody ever got over using that as a name out of curiosity? Just the same name with a different number or letter. Assassin number 2 later goes on to be in WWF as Hercules Hernandez. Their opponents tonight is Bugsy McGraw and Rufus R. Jones. Bugsy McGraw just looks like a complete jobber here. So the match just sort of starts slow paced. There's a scoop slam on Assassins number 1 by Bugsy and he rolls out. Rufus R. Jones, he keeps doing this boogie woogie leg shake.
That guy's legs did not go straight for the whole match.
He's quite the mover and shaker. Rufus gets on an armbar onto Assassins 2 and he keeps doing headbutts to the arm, whereas you would see wrestlers doing sort of shoulder thrusts in an armbar. He just keeps going for the headbutt to the arm, which is an interesting concept.
I'm okay with that. It's more if you see like two big guys do like a headbutt, usually the guy with the biggest or the heaviest head, in theory, is the one that's going to win. So if you're doing that to the arm, it's, you know, you've got that sort of mentality of it. But yeah, it didn't look that great.
There was a nice touch in this match though. Rufus does an Irish whip on Assassins 1. I don't know if you noticed this, but when Assassins 1 hits into the turnbuckles from the Irish whip, the referee sort of stumbles as though the impact has caused the ring to shake. I don't know if you noticed that.
I missed that.
It's a quick match. The end comes when Bugsy McGraw Irish whips Assassins 2 into the ropes, going for a back body drop. It's an awkward looking back body drop.
Yeah, it is a mess.
While Assassins 2 bounces on the ropes, Assassins 2 tags in. He sneaks in behind while Bugsy hits the back body drop, gets the schoolboy, rolls him up the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it does a back body drop.
Yeah.
And then he turns round and taunts and sort of walks into the schoolboy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look fluid. It just looks like we'll wait for the guy to stop and then we'll do the move instead of doing it mid taunt.
Yeah, so that's the end of the first match then. So the Masked Assassins pick up the win in the very first ever Starrcade match. Okay, so we cut to a sort of backstage segment then with Bob Caudle and Gordon Soley. They're just putting over the main event. Cut to pretty infant looking Tony Schiavone. He says in this backstage segment, he states that this is the first time ever the interviews and segments will be done from the locker rooms, but it's not entirely true. Jules Strongbow used to have a dressing room segment back in the 50s. I seem to remember him interviewing Mr. Moto. But anyway, Schiavone putting this over like it's the first time this has ever been done. While he's talking here, Piper and Flair are just sort of standing in the background.
Yeah, because like Tony Schiavone, he's not got any sort of like anchor in the background. It's like it's from the waist up.
Yeah.
And everyone in the locker room, like Flair, when they're walking about, just totally ignore him. So it looks like it could have been filmed with them just like a hidden camera filming them, and then he's been put there. It gives that impression, which is so funny.
I think it's just more a case that nobody actually likes Tony Schiavone, so nobody pays him attention. Okay, so next up on the card here, we've got Johnny Weaver and Scott McGee taking on Kevin Sullivan and Mark Lewin with Gary Hart as manager. First thing I'll note here is Kevin Sullivan is badly clinging to his hair. Just shave it and get it over with, son. he's clinging to that. It's not working out for you.
My first question when this came up was, what the hell is Lewin doing like at the introductions? Because he's bouncing his butt off the ropes and it just looks disturbing.
Okay, so McGee hits a nice dropkick on Sullivan. Sullivan immediately tags out.
Yeah.
So McGee gets sort of worked over in this match. Weaver tags to McGee, but he's actually leaning over the sort of middle rope, so he's between the middle and top rope making a tag. The referee doesn't allow the tag.
Right.
So it's good to see that the rules are being observed here.
Yeah, that confused me because the announcers mention it, but when I saw it, maybe I saw it wrong because I thought the referee was distracted and missed the tag.
No, it was because he tagged in through the ropes.
He tagged in illegally, right? Cause
illegal tag.
Because all I saw was like, I saw like a bit of a scuffle and then the ref, I didn't think the ref saw the tag and that's why he flipped out. So I didn't know if that was his reasoning and the announcers made the mistake or if I just missed it, so clearly I just missed it.
Yeah, no, he tagged in, the referee saw it but didn't allow it because it was an illegal tag.
Right, so he tagged in illegally, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Also, while we're talking about tagging, Weaver gets a hot tag.
Yeah.
The camera misses that as well.
Yeah, they missed the hot tag on Weaver. It's sad because the crowd do pop for the hot tag as well, so they are quite into it, but camera work again
the camera just jumps at that moment and then...
So the finish comes when Gary Hart gets involved in the match. He's holding McGee's arm while Sullivan comes off the top rope with a jumping knee drop to the arm, and that gets the 3 count. After the bell, the heels sort of walk over McGee.
Yeah, that seems to become a running theme in the show.
Working over after the bell.
Working over after the bell. Was that actually common in the 80s or was this just because of the feuds and stuff?
It was big in the 80s and early 90s to that extent. The heels just sort of working over after the bell. It's to do with the times.
Yeah.
So Weaver comes to try and make the save here, but eventually gets walked over. Gary Hart takes out a pipe or a shiv from his boot and Sullivan starts working over McGee with it. While the beating's going on, Angela Moscow comes out to make the save. He too gets attacked with the shiv. He gets stabbed in the arm a few times with it. Quite nasty looking as well. He eventually clears the ring of the heels. So we've got Barbara Clary interviewing a family made of wood here. It's not a good segment. She asks basically this family who's going to win the main event,
and
Flair or Race. They all say Flair. The last member of the family she asks, like the child of the family, is maybe about a 4-year-old, maybe, or a 5-year-old. She asks who's going to win, and the Wayne just sort of dingies her completely. It's awkward. We've got Tony Schiavone backstage with Harley Race. First thing I've noticed how much like a 70s porn star Harley Race looks here.
I noticed that as well, actually.
So this in the segment, Race just sort of puts over that he's going to win the match tonight against Flair, but
then you've kind of got to do that in all your promos.
It's not going to cut a good promo going like that. So what do you think of the main event tonight? I think I'm going to get beat. It's not going to sell tickets, is it?
Probably not. The thing I noticed about this as well was how more interview-esque this is rather than just a promo. It doesn't feel like he's saying I'm going to beat Flair or anything. He's just saying like, okay, I'm answering your questions and this is what I think. It doesn't feel like he's saying I'm going to beat your ass because I'm going to beat your ass because it's my job, you know?
Got a real feel to it.
Yeah.
So up next we've got Carlos Colon against Abdullah the Butcher. This is an ongoing feud. Stems from Abdullah the Butcher winning the first WWC Championship. So the match itself, very much a punch kick affair, and there's not too many wrestling holds or anything of note in this match at all.
I liked when it started up because it just seemed to be like starting up as a normal match, and then Abdullah just starts manhandling Carlos a lot, and then it just seems like it's going to be like big guy versus little guy sort of fight.
Yeah.
So I was liking the start, and then I get confused when Cologne starts coming back because I didn't see like the weapon at the start.
Oh right, yeah. So that all starts with Abdullah takes out a foreign object. It's hard to make out on the camera what the object is.
Yeah, they don't even mention it. They don't even like say what it. They just say like they got it from like Abdullah's tights or something.
Sully himself just calls it a foreign object, so it's difficult to pick it up what it is. So he tries to work over Abdullah. Tries to work over Cologne with it. Cologne eventually gets it off him. Abdullah gets it back and finally busts Cologne open with it.
Yeah. My main question there is there any sort of DQ rules? Because I don't remember like there being announced it was no DQ.
Doesn't establish that it was no DQ. The referee witnesses both of them working over with the foreign objects and lets the match go.
Lets it go. So that was just odd. The other thing was Cologne seemed to be able to like knock over Abdullah a lot.
Do you think they should have tried to do the stagger the big man spot a bit more?
Yeah, right, stuff like that. Apart from that, it was okay, but it just felt like Cologne was getting too many big shots in without any real reason.
Right, yeah, I see what you're saying. in.
The end doesn't make sense either.
Okay, so at one point, Galn hits a jumping leg drop, goes for the pin. Abdullah the Butcher with a sort of a power kick out.
Yeah.
And Galn ends up on top of the referee.
Yeah.
Abdullah gets up, goes to hit the elbow drop while Galn's on top of the ref. Galn moves.
And the ref doesn't.
The ref doesn't and gets hit with the elbow drop to give us our first ref bump of the night.
Yeah. So the ref's dead.
The ref's out. Galn walks over the legs, goes for the figure 4 leg lock. At this point, Hugo Savanovic.
Where did this guy come from? Was he mentioned as a manager with these guys? Cause I totally
No,
forgot.
he just sort of appears.
Who the hell was this guy?
Straight from the Spanish announce table he comes. Savanovic comes here and interferes. He clocks Galn again with an object that's hard to pick up on the camera. Abdullah rolls over on top of Galn for the pin just as the ref's coming too.
And the ref makes the biggest recovery in history there. Like,
just a wee bit of trivia here. Carlos Galn is actually Carlito's father.
Yep, I knew that.
There you go.
I knew that one.
Okay, fans, we're back in the dressing room, and it really isn't a pleasant sight here. Angelo Mosca, and Angelo, you got that World's Tag Team Championship match that you are supposed to be a referee in. The question is now, can you referee in that match?
If I had one arm, I would referee this match. That boy that I saw out there tonight almost brought tears to my eyes. I saw that crimson red. It reminded me of a 21-year-old boy called my son. So Mark Lewin, I felt the wrath of the spike. That's all it did was get my Latin blood in an uproar. Because when I was carrying that young 21-year-old boy back to the dressing room, I said there's no place in the NWA or professional wrestling for these acts. I've done a lot of nasty acts in my time, but I've never been a malicious man. I have humanity in heart for youth. That youth is what makes our professional wrestling go. So I leave you with these words. Just remember, blood is thicker than water, Lewin.
Promo of the night, mate. It's promo
I know,
of the night.
that is the only part of the show that feels like a promo though, because it's everyone else like talks the same as Race's first, whereas like it's more sit down and not directed, but it's more normal,
like a Q&A sort of session.
Yeah.
On the interview, the camera's tight on Shivani and Mosca, and the camera sort of pans back at one point during the interview, and it pans back to Scott McGee just sitting in a chair next to Mosca.
Yeah.
The blood is still pouring out of his head. It's all over his chest. He looks like he should be in A&E. Somebody get Scott McGee a doctor, please.
I know.
Slumped down the chair.
Not even is he alright.
No, didn't he mention him? No. But see that fucking... See when he get busted open, that match was about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like...
And he's still
pissing up. Like, somebody get him a doctor, like... Fucking hell.
Oh, God. So we go from that to Barbara Clary talking to two female fans, again asking who's going to win, who's your favourite wrestler and all that. So one of them's a Flair fan, so obviously they're all saying that Ric Flair's going to win.
Yeah. So next match on the card is Wahoo McDaniels and Mark Youngblood against Bob Orton Jr. and Dick Slater. Just before the match starts, the announcers introduce a special guest.
This is the start of the audio problems throughout the show.
It's Dusty Rhodes. He comes out, they're building it up because he actually faces the winner of the main event, but the mic just sort of cuts off and they leave it there.
The weird thing about that was both teams had been announced, and I think the bell had rung, and then
it's time to bring it to Dusty.
Yeah, and then he starts announcing Dusty Rhodes, and the referee is like, "Are we what? Are we to go or what?" You know,
it's strange, but
rather confusing. When
you're the booker, you can do things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the backstory to this match: Harley Race had put out a bounty on someone to injure Ric Flair. Orton and Slater were the ones to accept that bounty. They had written Ric Flair off with a spike pile driver. It was actually Wahoo McDaniels and Mark Youngblood that came to defend sort of Flair's honour.
Yeah.
So that's where this match stems from. So at least this match has got a bit of a history to it as well.
Yeah.
We've got Slater and he's going for a leg lock on Youngblood. Youngblood kicks him off and Slater jumps over the top rope. Him and Bob Orton claim that Youngblood did this on purpose, so throwing your opponent over the top rope at this time was illegal against the rules.
Yeah.
So they're trying to sell that to the referee, like Youngblood has broke the rules, so disqualify him.
Yeah. So back then, like back in 18 so you couldn't actually do like over the rope.
No, throwing your opponent over the rope was a disqualification. So Youngblood is sent to the outside. Bob Orton Jr. gives him a backbreaker onto the guardrail.
I like that.
Looks quite good.
I like that.
So the finish comes when Orton hits a suplex from the second rope and gets the 3 count.
I like the superplex for the top.
So after the bell, all 4 of them start brawling again. Wahoo McDaniels, just to sort of paint the picture, he's lying in the ring but with his arm on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, so he's got his arm stretched on the outside of the ring. Orton goes up to the top rope, hits a double axe handle from the top rope to the outside, hitting his arm, which was quite good. The heels eventually scalpel to the back. So T-Dog is backstage then, interviewing Ric Flair. Flair basically just says that he's ready for his match. Steamboat and Jay Youngblood are there as well, saying that they're ready for the tag team title match.
2 promos in 1, really.
Both matches get put over here in this segment. Next up we get old Babs Clary. She's interviewing Dusty again, and the mic cuts out again. Dusty Rhodes is just not getting to cut this promo. It is not his night. Up next, we've got the Great Kabuki versus Charlie Brown. The backstory to this match is that the Great Kabuki actually bet Jimmy Valiant, who is Charlie Brown. He bet him in a Loser Leaves Town match in August 83, so just a few months before this. That's why Valiant is back as Brown in disguise. It's actually, at the time, it was one of the worst kept secrets because Jimmy Valiant has a very distinctive ZZ Top-esque beard.
Oh god, it was Santa in a mask.
And all he's really done is put on a mask and that's it. He's not had the beard or anything like that. This is the TV title match. But there's actually a weird stipulation on the match here, where if Charlie Brown from Out of Town wins the match within 15 minutes, he wins the TV title, but Brown's mask is on the line for the entire match regardless when in the timeline Kabuki gets the pin. Just a wee side note here as well, Great Kabuki is actually the first ever wrestler to do the mist spitting gimmick. Many people attribute it to Keiji Muto, but in fact it was Kabuki that done it first.
Cool. And he actually does a bit, like as he's introduced, he does a spray, but that's the only time he uses it. Yeah,
he doesn't use it as a
weapon.
Yeah, Kabuki slaps on a claw.
From here on out, this is the match. It's just Kabuki is holding the claw.
Yeah, so we get variants of the claw. We get the jumping claw, we get a claw just slapped on from the standing position. It's just a claw. The whole match descends into being a claw. Yeah. Did I mention that there's a claw used in this match? But Kabuki, he just lets it go. Brown doesn't fight out of it or anything.
Yeah.
He's obviously thinking, well, that's enough of that. You've suffered that long enough. My work here is done. We get an abysmal looking savate kick by Kabuki, and then Kabuki goes for a jumping something or other. I'm not even sure what he's trying to hit. He just goes for a jumping something, falls on his ass. Brown hits an elbow drop, and you get the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that what the hell is that? It's like
it's just it's a messy looking finish, and Solly and Caudle say they'll have to get the official timekeeper word if the pin did it or did it not come within the 15 minute. I'll save you the hassle. It did. Thank fuck that match is done. That was awful. Worst match of the night. So we cut to Solly and Caudle putting over the main event, and then they bring in just some random looking guy. He's asked a few questions and then he's just ushered back out a shot. We're back with Shibani in the dressing room of Harley Race. Orton and Slater are there too. They talk about the fact that there was a 25 grand hit put out on Flair to take him out of the game.
I wonder what that would be in like today's money.
About 26 grand.
Oh yeah, because credit crunch.
Shivani asks Harley Race about his strategy for the main event, which is attack the neck of Flair. Up next we've got Clary interviewing Dusty Rhodes again for the third time.
I think this was the promo he was supposed to give or something.
He says the sort of popular opinion is that Flair will win in the main event, and that he just puts over the fact that he's going to be facing the winner for the title.
Fair enough.
So up next we've got Piper against Valentine. Valentine is the US champion, although the belt was not in the line on this match.
Gordon Soley seemed to not get the memo because he was convinced throughout like half of the match or most of the match.
He refers to it as a US title match.
Yeah, he does.
Also in the introduction, Valentine is referred to by the ring announcer as the bionic elbow. Like, is Dusty Rhodes okay with you saying that? Like, that is his gimmick.
Yeah.
So the build to this, previously, Valentine had been in a match with Piper and used the ring bell to bust the the side of Piper's head open. Part of the angle was that Piper had lost hearing in his ear. I noticed from the start of the match then with introductions that Piper again is announced as being from Scotland. Not Glasgow, Scotland or Aberdeen, Scotland, just
or
Scotland in general.
Yeah,
just that general region, Scotland.
Yeah.
Everybody else gets from Charlotte, North Carolina, but no, just that region is fine.
Yeah.
Piper's recently just turned face, and he's pretty over as a face, as the crowd will let us know. So Piper managed to turn face by saving Gordon Solly from a beatdown by Don Morocco. So 7 months prior to this match, Piper lost the US title to Valentine, and they've been feuding ever since. So the match came about when Valentine gave Piper a cake with a collar in it, signifying it was going to be a collar match. So the match starts off with them doing a tug of war gimmick, but it's more using their neck to doing the tugging.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's a mental idea. It's the neck thing was really cool, just because all they really had to do was like lean back, and that was it. But it was a mental idea.
It looks pretty good though.
Yeah.
So they eventually come together.
They come together, but it's not with punching, because like they start reeling each other in with the chain.
Yep.
And Piper like loops it first and gets a whip in.
Valentine is eventually busted open from chain shots to the head. Valentine does the repeat pinfall spot. Now,
don't like this.
It's a pet peeve of mine. Is this ever worked in any match ever?
No, but it's not supposed to.
I know.
It's a psychological thing. If I try and pin you,
right,
legit, and you kick out,
yep,
so you've exerted energy,
okay,
and then if I pin you again,
yep,
you've got to kick out again. So in that sense, it's sort of a wear down thing.
Yeah, it's also, I guess, it shows frustration on the pinner's part.
Yeah,
that they're so frustrated you kicked out that they just
go
for it again. But I hate the spot.
Yeah, well, William Regal does that nice though. You know how like he'll take the elbow in the face,
yeah,
and then like you kick out, and then he'll do like, so like you're sort of like hurting yourself as you're getting out. Yeah. But I just like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Valentine goes to the second rope, but Piper uses the chain to pull him off. Valentine lands on his back, and Piper wraps the chain around his fist, does some punches to the face with it,
then
hooks the leg using the chain for the 1, 2, 3. I did not see that finish coming.
You didn't?
No, I didn't see just the finish coming from.
Yeah, it was kind of quick.
Punches.
It just seemed to be kind of quick.
Yeah, I didn't. I expected a sleeper hold submission or something like that. I didn't expect. It was good for a collar match though. I quite liked the fact that he used the gimmick in the win, in that sense that he used the chain.
Yeah,
he used the chain as punches and used the chain to hook the legs.
So it was like it was against him, and they used the chain throughout the match. It wasn't just we're tied together.
Yeah. After the pinfall, Valentine continues going after Piper.
Yet again, more aftermatch beatdowns.
Yeah, but this time Valentine just sort of leaves mid beatdown. You know, it's just a bit strange, and then Piper soaks in the applause from the crowd.
Yeah,
Piper is over.
Yeah.
So T-Dog is backstage with Flair and Wahoo McDaniels. He puts over how he's ready, same shtick as last time. Barbara Clary talks with Don Cornudo, who says that Flair, Jay Youngblood and Steamboat will all win titles that they're going for tonight. Okay, so up next we have the NWA World Tag Team title match. So the champions, the Briscoe brothers, Jack and Jerry, versus Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. This feud goes back to when the four were faces and the Briscoe brothers turned on Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. So this was earlier in '83. The Briscoes defeated Steamboat and Jay for the tag titles. Angela Moscow is a special referee in this match.
With his arm taped up to fuck.
His arm is taped up, still selling the spike shots from earlier on in the night.
Yeah, Moscow not wearing a referee shirt.
So we get some nice leapfrogs by Steamboat.
Oh yeah.
To start the match off.
Can't be Steamboat without a leapfrog.
Jerry gets a lovely double underhook suplex on Steamboat. That's really nice.
Yeah, I like that.
So the finish comes when Ricky Steamboat press slams Jay onto Jack for the 3 count. So we have new champions and there's a huge pop from the crowd here.
Yeah, I like that. For that to be the finish, it wasn't just a straight
tag teams doing tag team
moves.
Something you rarely see.
Yeah, now.
After the bell, the Briscoes work over the faces, so the pattern of Starrcade 83 continues. Jerry comes off the top rope, going for like a sort of splash. Angela Mosca tries to catch him mid-air.
Yeah, this is a mess.
He sort of he doesn't catch him right, and both of them
just fall. Yeah.
Steamboat and Jay get the upper hand and clear the Briscoes from the ring. Mosca hands the belts to the new champions, Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat. Okay, so it's our main event of the night. Harley Race, NWA champion, versus the challenger, Ric Flair, with the special ref, Gene Kiniski, who's a former NWA heavyweight champion himself. Race is on his 7th reign as champion going into this match. Flair had his one previous reign come to an end earlier in the year, losing to Race. So we get a gorgeous, safe pile driver from Harley Race. Flair gets rammed into the cage a few times, eventually busting him open. Race gets face first into the ring post to bust him open, so now both men have got some colour in this match. Flair gets the figure 4 on, but Race gets to the ropes. The fans pop loud for the false finish here. We go to the finish when Race accidentally hits Kiniski. Now Kiniski goes down on all fours. Flair goes up to the second rope and hits a flying crossbody. Now when he connects with Race sort of stumbles back, stumbling over Kiniski, who's on the ground.
Yeah.
Now he gets the 1, 2, 3, new champ, and the crowd pop massive. It's the loudest pop of the night. It's an interesting finish. You would have thought if you're going to cement your new champion and really give Flair a run with the belt, beating Harley Race for the belt, you'd think you would do it with the figure 4. Nonetheless, we get the 3 count. After the bell rings and the new champion's announced, Mosca enters and lifts Flair up onto his shoulders to celebrate. The rest of the faces and the family and friends of Flair's enter the ring. Steamer's there, Youngblood, and Flair's wife eventually enters.
Yeah, she like goes in, gives him a hug and buggers off again.
She goes in, gives him a hug, gets some of Flair's blood on the side of her face, and it's stuck there for the rest of the segment. She's got blood on the side of her head. Overall, it was a great match, although the cage was not overly used. It wasn't sort of just cage spot. It was more there, like Solly said, to keep out outside interference.
Yeah.
But for me, Kiniski's constant pushing and pulling of Race during the match, it kind of made Race, who's a 7-time NWA champion, look like a bit of a jabroni. But I suppose Kiniski's an old legend at this point as well, who himself is a former NWA champion. I just thought maybe 1 or 2 spots of pulling Race off of Flair, but constantly just didn't like that. So after Flair cuts his thank you promo to the fans in the ring, we've got a few more backstage segments before the night's done. I'm not sure what this is for. I wonder if maybe they've just bought too much time on the closed network circuit or something like that. But we've got 3 promos in my eyes that I don't feel need to be there. So up first, Shivani's backstage with Flair. Steamer appears and is congratulating Flair. Flair says thank you and anything you want is yours. Now, is this a sign of things to come? Dusty appears and congratulates Flair, but warns him that I'm your next opponent. Up next, Clary interviews Harley Race. He says that he isn't going away and that he'll be after Flair for a rematch. And the final backstage segment of the night is Tony Schiavone backstage with Ric Flair, Jay and the Steamboat, and all of them thank the fans and they pose with their belts for pictures that no one has taken. So overall, Starrcade 83, what did you think?
I liked it. I mean, obviously some matches didn't make sense. Cough, cough, claw. A couple of things I didn't like was just the fact that the entire show, it was Starrcade 83, a Flair for the gold. The fact that they called it a Flair for the gold kinda says Flair was going to win for the start. Okay, it was different spelling, but without knowing Ric Flair was going to win, I had a feeling Flair was going to win. Yeah, so what were you? What did you like, dislike?
Well, I thought overall it was a good show. First major production from the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions. For me, the highlight of the night was Harley Race against Ric Flair. That's maybe my pick. The worst match overall was Kabuki against Charlie Brown. That match was fucking awful.
Charlie Brown from Narratown.
Oh my god. Jimmy Valiant, fuck off.